Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Back Catalogue Podcast. This is the podcast where we, and by we I mean me, Apo, my co-host / co-founder Vincent, we dive into the streaming services and we tell you, the listener and the viewer, what is worth and what is not. And that's just frantic, that's erratic, that's content. We're here.
And we're here.
Vincent, I'm on a chair today. I was on a chair last week, but I'm on a chair today and I don't feel as comfortable. It's not a good chair, ergonomic.
Not a good chair? Okay.
And also, I'm out of the camera. Let me just...
I was just about to say, like, I'm looking at about literally half of your head.
I'm back in. Vincent, we are here to do episode 5 of Moon Knight, The Asylum.
Or
and Vincent,
the
we're going to get
Asylum,
right into this.
If for those in of the different pronunciations.
I mean, if you're privy to it, it's The Asylum.
That's
But
right.
you have to be privy to it. There's no other ways about it. But Vincent, we are here to talk about The Asylum. So let's just jump right into this. I appreciate it when we just jump right into it.
Let's just jump right into it. All right, what did you think? Good, bad, trash?
So straight off the bat, I thought that the last three quarters of this was fantastic.
See, I agree with you there. When it started, I was like, man, this is just, they're like explaining everything for us. I felt like it was, like they were almost narrating what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it was frustrating to watch. But I feel like the rest, I mean, look, I'm in no space to judge the what's the word?
The representation of mental health within that space.
That's right. Yeah, I'm not really in a place to judge that. But I thought it was pretty decent. I thought, from my perspective. Me, a non-professional.
I mean, we're all non-professionals, but in the podcasting game, we're absolutely professional.
That's right.
And that's why we release things every Sunday and every Monday if you're here in the southern states. And by the southern states, I mean Australia. And also, just so you know, if you're watching this, like and subscribe.
That's right. And yeah, like if Mark Spector was out there and in the afterlife he was just doing podcasting, like him and Grant Stevens were doing a podcast, we'd be the ones to talk to. You wouldn't go to Joe Rogan.
No.
You'd come to us.
Because at this point, like Joe Rogan is as I don't know if the word is inflated, but saturated as the remainder of the podcasting game. We're talking about he's got all the viewers, he's got all the visitors coming on, he's got all the guests. But see us, we're an open slate, we're clean, we're ready for guests, we're ready for views,
whatever that means.
I meant to say clean slate,
bro. The slate is open.
Slate.
The slate is open. Let me tell you.
We're an open street. I don't know what it is. It's one of those. I mean, we're open to having others on this podcast is what we're saying.
That's right. Specifically talking about like rocks and other slate formations in the Earth's crust.
Is it slate? It's slate, isn't it?
As
like a clean slate. Like a clean
slate is the correct saying. Yes, a clean slate.
So the first part of this episode, right? This is why I say the last three quarters of it. So the first part of the episode was, that hippo was explaining sort of where they are, why they're there. They explained that they were in, like what we sort of said in the last week, that they're in a bit of a
limbo.
A bit of a limbo between whether or not they're going to be sent to like the nice part of the afterlife or whether or not they're just going to be sent to the barren wastelands of the afterlife, which is just an open Saharan desert,
Yeah, that's right.
But I thought initially that was pretty cool because I was like, if you're going to do some things that are strictly of this culture, of this religion, of this historical context, you're just going to do a boat floating in the middle of sands, and there's sand creatures in there. You're going to do that, and you're going to have a hippopotamus driving that boat.
I think she was the worst part of this episode.
She was very. She looked great. Like, I mean, if you've got as a live action character, as a hippopotamus. Like it worked really well, and it didn't seem like she was separate to Mark Spector and Stephen Grant. But
No, not at all.
the part that separated her the most was just her bubbliness and personality, which seems like an upsetting thing to say. You know, like heads who walk onto certain podcasts might say these things and get away with it, but heads like us will say that, you know, that doesn't seem right for me to say that. But it also was just so different from everything else that it didn't fit. It was jarring.
I don't know if the personality of the hippo jarred it for me. I think it was just she was there explaining everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. Like, things need to be explained. Some things. But it felt like she was there reading, like, the rule book.
Yeah. And as a
She
member
wasn't
of the
reading her lines,
patriarchy,
she was reading the rule book.
as a member of the patriarchy, which you're a part of, when you get hippo-splained, you get really upset, don't you?
Bro, don't hippo-splain to me, all right? I'll start
Dude,
throwing
like
hands.
you have been in your industry for a while. If a hippo came in and started explaining computer science to you, you would be upset.
I would be upset. Like, mans would be upset.
And that's
there's
fair
no
enough
doubt about it.
because you are a valid and a very good member of that community. You don't need to be, you know, hippo-splained.
That's right.
is
The other
what I'm
members
trying
of the
to say.
community don't think I'm that good, but like, I think I'm alright. And like, as long as you do, someone not in that community, that's all I need to. That's all I need to have.
And, you know, I like to say to people who don't know how good they are at something or who are struggling with something, just have fun with it. You know, just have fun with it. And we'll go from there. But Vincent, so I think that first bit wasn't as strong. And I think that initially when they started going through and seeing Mark Spector's memories, I was a little bit... You know, like when there was the room of all those dead people, it didn't really affect me as much as I think it was supposed to. But then as the story progressed and that story of Mark Spector and his brother progressed, and the story of them going into the cave when it starts to rain, and the relationship between Mark Spector and his mum, when that progressed, it started to get really intriguing and interesting. Because
there was
is
some
exactly...
rough spots there.
But this is exactly, and I know that it was stylized at times and probably increased at times and things like that. But that's, you know, that's TV show things, that's movie things, that keeps people engaged. But that's exactly, you know, in regards to some people's mental health, that's coming from these traumas that we've had all these years back that we've chosen to forget. And in this case, the way that he's chosen to forget was like, I was like, this is why we came to watch this show. For something intriguing and something different and a different approach to this superhero genre. I feel like this is the first episode in which they did that actively and did that well. And I'll get into, I didn't want to spoil it exactly because this is spoilers of what that change was. But man, it hit me hard. It really hit me hard. I'm just waiting for you to say your next point.
No, you can keep going. I'm listening to you.
Do you want me to just get into what? So
just get into it.
Mark Spector, when he is being abused by his mum and his relationship is not where he wants to be with his mum, he uses Stephen Grant, who is a character in a movie that him and his brother loved. He uses that character to disassociate from his body. So he uses that character so that he won't experience those bad relationships and those bad things that happen with his mother. And disassociation is something that it's real. Not to obviously extent that we...
Sorry, did he created Stephen Grant to only know the good things, like to live his life freely kind of thing?
Yeah. So that
right?
he doesn't get the bad things from his mum.
That's right. So Stephen Grant was just, he's there, out there living his life.
And Stephen Grant has no idea that his mum is experiencing those challenges and that, you know, his mum is abusing him. And that's why that his mum is dead. And that's why within the show at the start of it, we see Stephen Grant having a really good relationship with his mum and calling her regularly. Yeah. Because she is still well and truly within his world. And when there was that scene in which it's the day of her funeral, and he falls to the ground, and he's upset. He's distraught. Really, he's not just upset. He's beyond that, and then he disassociates into Stephen Grant, and he just goes on with the next part of his life.
Yeah.
What I found was really good was in this episode, I was very much like questioning, okay, we've gotten Mark Spector's background, but when are we going to have some things about Stephen Grant's?
We got it, mate. We got it.
But we got it in a way that I was like, I did not see I genuinely thought they were separate entities. Like they were, obviously they are.
Yeah, I never thought that they were. I knew. My understanding was that it was the same person, and because they said about disassociation and whatever, that they were like two parts of the same person. Yeah.
To be on brand with our with the back catalogue, it's disassociation or whatnot. Like you just got to put the whatnot at the end because that's scientific terms.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like if you look in the book of the back catalogue, you'll find whatnot
the
in
book
there
of the back catalogue
as a whole chapter.
It's like the book, and then there's whatnot as like the appendix, and that's the appendix is actually just everything. There's nothing in the book. Everything's just in the whatnot.
I don't know if my levels are good here. They look good. I mean, they look good, but I just want to make sure. But Vincent, I want to hear about.
Just have fun with it.
I want to hear about what you've got, what you had fun with in this episode.
What I had fun with, I think for a lot of it, I was trying to decide whether I thought this was a good representation of mental health, like this whole situation. So I don't think I think I was too involved in that and not involved in just enjoying the TV show for whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I did still enjoy it, and it was pretty wild. But as soon as Mark and his brother, like they leave their house in supposedly like suburbia, and they're in a cave in the woods that they're now drowning in.
And it was sunny. It's always sunny in Philadelphia, so it was sunny there, and then it wasn't.
It absolutely was not.
I did find that funny as well because it worked in the fact that it was a dream sequence, or like not a dream sequence, but a memory sequence.
That's right. I'm just gonna attribute it to they weren't the same at the same time. Like they were two separate memories that happened to just have good cohesion. So like the mind, they decided to show it like that. Whatever.
Yeah. Are you upset that because this is episode 5, and I think that it's just coming into its stride. If that's how we sort of finished off this episode, do you think that because now I'm pretty sure from what we read, was it just 6 episodes?
I think so. Yeah, I'll double check that. But
are you upset that there's only one more episode left? I didn't think I'd be upset about there being just one episode.
I don't think so. I think I'm pretty happy with this so far. Yeah, 6 episodes.
I just feel like the conclusion will be rushed.
I hope that there's not a lot of Moon Knight in it.
Yeah, because Moon Knight's been the worst part of.
That is exactly what it's been. It's wild for me to say that because you put a man in a suit, like structured hood or not, and have him throwing fists. I'm there for it. But evidently, I'm not here for this. But maybe that's how they've done it.
The fact that we got that Mr. Knight look just once, and it was royally misused. Was it just once, or we got it twice? We got it twice, I think.
We got it twice because he was then spinning the stars.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he sucks anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. But I wish that we just...
1 second, listeners and viewers.
You doing some... Do I continue to talk, or am I just here by myself? I'm just here by myself. So from my perspective, I think that if they go, well, they're going to have to go Moon Knight heavy because then people will be complaining that there's not enough Moon Knight. And you sign up to a show that says Moon Knight, you're hoping you'll get some Moon Knight. But then what do they have to do for that? They have to raise Khonshu. They have to don the suit back, in some sort of battle. I'm assuming Harrow's going to have his suit as well. And then they'll continue from there. Did you pause? You didn't pause anything, did you?
No, then they'll just meet in the middle, as we said earlier.
Yeah. And that's what we said earlier, and you've come in at the right time, Vincent. But I was saying, in the next episode, if they Moon Knight, right? If they do Moon Knight, you're going to have to awaken Khonshu, which is going to have some business going on. There's going to be like flashing lights and things are going to be shaking, and then Khonshu's going to come out. Then they're going to have to don the suit, and then they're going to have to fight Harrow, who will also, I assume, have some form of power or suit.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's not a good last episode.
I don't think this last episode's going to be that good.
No,
I haven't got very good. I haven't got very high hopes. I don't think.
The one twist that I just thought of that they could do, and this could be 100% correct because we've never missed on this podcast, and we never will, is that Layla, when she awakens Khonshu to get Oscar Isaacs out of purgatory, Layla could be the next Moon Knight.
And hopefully she'll be a cooler Moon Knight than the other head.
Well, I mean, hopefully, her hood is up to your standard because, you were a bit upset about the hood.
I was a bit upset about the hood. Yeah.
Vincent, I think I also misled you on this a little bit because I've been quite low on this show, and I think that I gave you that energy in the last couple of weeks, which I think I rightfully gave you that energy, I believe. But I think that might have been why you came into it with a different perspective this week.
Probably. Well, I mean, I guess because at the end of last week, we had that discussion about the Asylum and the dynamics of what the last episode brought to the show.
Yeah.
But...
And also the fact that this episode is called Asylum, initially that made me, mad because, again, asylum is an older term. And for the common folk like me, like you, I mean, the listeners are not common folk. They're great people. But for me and Vincent, asylum sparks ideas of fear and a place to be scared of. And, let's go into that haunted asylum where all those people have their ghosts, all these haunted, all these people have died in here and there.
I wonder if that fits with what it actually ended up being, because it wasn't an actual psychiatric hospital. It was their purgatory that, they've dreamt up themselves. They've created it themselves.
Hold on one second. I just got to pause something.
You got to pause
Vincent,
something?
I just got to pause something. Let me just... You got
the potatoes in the air fryer. You got to pause them because otherwise they're going to...
We're just having technical difficulties over here, but it'll come back.
That's all right.
No, that was technical difficulties on my end. I realised that I was still using my Wi-Fi, and I've got some... my Wi-Fi is in purgatory.
You're all wireless, no fidelity.
Dude, there's no fidelity, man. And shout out to priests because they say that sometimes. That's an inside joke from the Patreon. You have to sign up to the Patreon for that.
That's right.
But
you
Vincent,
need to sign up to Patreon and go through all our hours of content to find that joke that is going to be ultimately not up to your expectations.
Think about how many hours of content there is. You probably think maybe like 10, 15 hours. Double that. You got the Patreon.
Right, just double it, all right?
Vincent, is there anything else that you want to say? Sorry, you were saying something and then my technical difficulties occurred.
No, I was just saying that the asylum part of the show is, could also play into the fact that maybe Mark Spector believes that's what he is in metaphorically.
Yeah.
Because he obviously knows. He obviously knows Stephen Grant is made up.
That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff.
That was good stuff. Well, yeah, that's good stuff.
I mean, it's something that I didn't expect. and it was
Yeah.
intriguing to me because it was something that you know, as a viewer of this, it was quite an emotional scene, but it shows why Mark Spector is built so differently to Stephen Grant.
He built different. Like he's
He's built different. And I mean, you know, you see Oscar Isaac doing these two roles side by side, and you think this man's an actor.
He's undoubtedly an actor.
You know, in an episode that is yet to be released and may be released one day, the back catalogue episode 0, we were talking about particular actors, but those actors have since been cancelled. So we might have to start calling people Oscar Isaac types.
We absolutely might have to, because he is a darn tootin' actor.
He's an Oscar Isaac type, is what he is.
He's an absolute Oscar Isaac type. The only thing
I'll
probably say...
Oh, go on.
What was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, reflecting on the episode, I think, yeah, it was good. And I was about to say something else, but now I've forgotten it. But as I'm saying that I've forgotten, I've actually remembered it. So she was explaining about the hippo was explaining about the you know, balancing of the scales. She keeps going, oh, the scales aren't balanced. You've got to balance the scales. And it's like, yeah, we get it. You got to balance the scales. And the scales kept getting balanced more and more as the memories kept playing. And at first I was thinking, why are they getting balanced now? Like that's almost causing more confusion between the two, you know, people. But when it ended, I kind of reflected on it and I thought, well, that makes sense, because the reason the scales are unbalanced is because there's two heads there and there should only be one.
Yes. Right. That's right.
So
what you're telling me is if he threw Stephen Grant off the boat straight away, he would have been set.
That's right. That's right.
That scene when he got pulled off the boat?
Yeah. No. So Mark Spector was getting pulled off the boat, and Stephen Grant decided he's just going to kamikaze it, grab the dude, and fling him off the boat with him.
Okay. Yeah. That scene of him running through the sand and getting stuck. That's because that is like a dream that everyone's had, where there's been something happening and they've been trying to run towards someone and they can't quite catch him and they get stuck and their feet aren't moving and they're moving forward and then they just stop and whatever they're running for goes away. Like I've definitely had a dream like that.
I must not be in the every person umbrella.
See, you're built different though. You like dreaming about, like, you know, Konami codes and like, you know, JavaScripts and whatnot.
Dude, absolute JavaScripts.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Because I was calling NPCs the other day, so I was calling them CPUs. So that's just. But Vincent, I just wanted to say,
get out of my way. You know, I talked to all these CPUs in GTA and just.
Oh man, I'm built different though, so it's all right. But Vincent, can I tell you one thing?
Okay.
This movie, this show, if you want a really good version of this show, of this particular episode especially, you have to watch the movie Soul on Disney Plus, starring the incomparable Jamie Foxx, the animated movie Soul. That is 100%. You know, it's if you watch this episode, you'll see a lot of links to that movie, but also that movie is under talked about, and it's not underrated because people rate it highly, but it is, you know, in many people's minds in regards to a Pixar/Disney movie, it is underrated. So watch Soul. But Vincent, unless there's anything else you want to say, you could tell them where they can find us.
Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Follow us. Check us out. Talk soon.
Talk soon.